Hello guys, and welcome to my garden. Today I'm gonna show you a method that can be used to figure out the size of a population by taking samples of the population. Because if you take a look at my lawn here, you can see that there are lots and lots of this little white flower. In Latin it's called Bellis Perellus. And if I want to know how many I have in my garden, it would take a very long time if I were to count each and every one of them. So instead I'm gonna do a quadrat sampling, and I have produced a little quadrat for that. I have made it by cutting one side of a cereals package. And I have then produced this hole, which is 15 times 15 centimeters. So I know the area inside of my quadrat, and I can then do a quadrat sampling. And this is my sheet for data collection. So I'm going to take 10 samples. So quadrat number 1, quadrat number 2, 3, and so forth. And in each of the quadrats, I'm going to count the number of individuals. And what is important here is that I do this as a random sampling. So I can't just move around and pick a spot where there is a lot of this flower that I'm interested in. I have to sort of toss my quadrat and then take a certain number of steps and then toss it again to make it a random sampling. So I'm gonna toss my quadrat like this. Right, it landed over there. So this is my quadrat number 1. I'm moving closer. I take a close look. No, there is no individuals of the species that I'm interested in. So as a result, I would put 0 as the number of individuals in quadrat number 1. Then I'm going to stand up, I close my eyes, I toss the quadrat again, it landed over there. I move over here, I see, again it's a 0. So quadrat number 2, the result would be 0. Then I stand up, close my eyes, toss the quadrat again. And this time the quadrat landed here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm then gonna count how many of the species I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the result for this quadrat would be 5. We are still in my garden, and we will now do another type of investigation, but we will still be using the quadrat, right? So this time we're going to collect data that we can later use to do a statistical test on whether there is an association between one species and another. So sometimes they might prefer to grow together, sometimes they might prefer to grow apart, and sometimes it's just a random pattern. And the 2 species that I'm going to investigate is again the little white flower that we have here, and then the yellow flower that we have here, right? So if you look at my lawn, you can see that at least here they grow together, but sometimes we also find some of them not in the same spot, right? So I'm going to use the quadrat sampling to figure out if there is an association between these 2 species. So what I'm going to do is sort of the same thing that I did before. I'm going to toss my quadrat, and then I'm going to figure out if the species are present or not in that quadrat. So I'm going to toss it. Close my eyes, toss it, and it landed over here. So I move over here. Okay, so this would be an example of only the yellow flower being present. And if my yellow flower is my species B, that means that in this quadrat I have species B, but no species A. So I draw a line in this one to count that I have one of those types of quadrats with species B in it, but no species A. Then I try to toss the quadrat again. It landed over there. In this quadrant, there is no species A and no species B. So no species B and no species A. So I draw a line down here to count that I have now one of those quadrants. And then I simply continue and continue and continue and do this until I have at least 5 in each. So I might end up having 20 lines up here and 5 lines over here and 30 lines down here and 15 here or something like that. And then we will use this number to do a chi-squared test. I'm going to explain this in another video, but you have to continue tossing the quadrant until you have at least 5 samples for each of these types of outcomes.